Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is the series where I'm going to be doing a little bit further explanation into the 10 considerations video that I did. And if you haven't seen it yet, please do go back and watch it because I list out 10 considerations, very high level. And in this series, I'm just going to be kind of going through, not all of them, but a few of them with a little further explanation. And just because that video would have been too long if I did it in that video. So hopefully this helps, and thank you for watching. One of the other top two considerations that I spoke about in that video was relating to your income, and not necessarily how much income you have, although important. I am more talking about your income source. Whether you are retired and have retirement income, pension, Social Security, passive income from investments or rental properties, if you work remotely as an independent contractor or freelancer, these sources will dictate what options you have available for residency visas in a particular country. So, for example, I know I'm in Poland and there is no retirement visa and there is no digital nomad visa. There is an option available for US residents who are, say, a freelancer. And I can do a whole video about that if you'd like in the comments. But it's something that only U.S. citizens have outside of the EU for Poland, based on a bilateral agreement. But I know that not every country is going to have a residency option for all income sources. Okay, so that is something that's going to help you narrow down your options. So instead of trying to decide between 10 or 15 countries, you may only have an option of 5 especially if you're including all the other considerations that I mentioned on the list. So that can make things actually a lot easier and a lot less overwhelming if you start with what your income sources actually are. Okay, so that was something that I definitely wanted to cover kind of, in a separate video about what I meant when I said your income. And just, keep in mind what your income sources are. Maybe you have 2. Maybe you have passive income and you're a freelancer. So one of those might work in a country where the other one doesn't work. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a good criteria to have at the top. Also, you might be thinking, oh, well, I'll just get there and look for a job. No, because most of the time you have to apply for your residency visa from the US, okay? So you already need to know what your income is or where it's coming from. In very, very, very rare situations can you go to a country and then, apply for a job locally and then try to stay based on that job that you found, because you already need to have your income source before you even apply most of the time. And also, it is very, very difficult to get a job as a foreigner, particularly in Europe. I mean, there's definitely a narrow set of cases and countries where they're looking for particular career fields, and you might get a job offer based on that, and then you could apply from afar and hopefully get hired from the US, and then that company would kind of help you with your process anyway. So, that's a whole different ball of wax. You know what I mean? So, don't have in your mind, well, I'll just get there and look for a job. That's not a plan. That's not a plan. The path of least resistance is to already have your income source. Okay? I don't recall which country it is right now off the top of my head, but I think there is some visa that you can get and that it'll allow you some time to look for a job. And then if you don't find a job, then you have to leave. I, I'm sure that exists in maybe a couple of places, but definitely don't go with that as your first plan because that's very, very unlikely to happen. That was my quick explainer on income sources and how that will help you narrow down your options for where you can move abroad. If you would like me to do a deeper dive into the option available in Poland for US citizens, I'll be happy to do that if you would just let me know in the comments. And with that, I will see you on the next one.